In the heart of a small, quiet village nestled in the savannah of northern Nigeria, there was a girl named Ralia. Her name was whispered with sadness by the elders, and with pity by the villagers. Ralia was an orphan, having lost both her parents to a mysterious illness when she was just a baby. She had no memory of them, only the stories that the village griots told, of how her father had been a brave hunter and her mother a kind woman with a heart full of love. After her parents' passing, Ralia was taken in by her father's second wife, Amina. Amina had 2 children of her own, and though she had once been a loving woman, the loss of her husband had hardened her heart. She looked at Ralia, not with love, but with resentment, seeing her as a burden, a constant reminder of what she had lost. From the time she was old enough to walk, Ralia was given the hardest tasks in the household. While her step-siblings, Musa and Zara, played in the fields and attended school, Ralia was forced to stay behind, cleaning, cooking, and tending to the animals. She would rise before dawn, her small hands chapped and calloused from fetching water from the distant river, her back sore from bending over the fire. The other villagers noticed Ralia's plight. They would see her carrying heavy loads, her face etched with weariness beyond her years, but no one dared to intervene. Amina's temper was well known, and her sharp tongue had a way of silencing those who might have offered a kind word or a helping hand. Despite the cruelty she faced, Ralia was a child of remarkable resilience. She had inherited her mother's quiet strength and her father's unyielding spirit. Each night, after the day's chores were done, Ralia would sit under the ancient baobab tree at the edge of the village. This tree, with its gnarled branches and roots that ran deep into the earth, was a symbol of endurance. It was under this tree that Ralia would talk to the spirits of her parents, believing they were with her, guiding her through the darkness. One day, as Ralia was returning from the river, she came across a frail old woman sitting by the side of the path. The woman's back was bent with age, her hair as white as the clouds, but her eyes shone with a strange light, as if they held secrets from another world. "My child," the old woman called out to Ralia, her voice soft but strong, "come closer." Ralia, ever respectful of her elders, approached the woman and greeted her with a deep bow. The old woman smiled, her face wrinkling like the bark of an old tree. "I see the pain in your eyes, little one," she said gently. "But remember, the earth watches over those who endure with kindness." The old woman reached into her tattered robes and pulled out a small, intricately carved wooden box. "Take this, but do not open it until the time is right. When your heart feels heavy, and you are unsure of what to do, this box will guide you." Ralia accepted the box with both hands, her heart filled with curiosity and a glimmer of hope. She thanked the old woman, who nodded and disappeared into the forest as quickly as she had appeared. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months. Amina's cruelty only grew worse. She would often refuse to feed Ralia, claiming there was not enough food for everyone, and she would send her out into the fields during the hottest part of the day to work. The villagers began to notice Ralia's thin frame and sad eyes, but Amina's words were sharp, and no one dared to confront her. One evening, after a particularly grueling day, Ralia sat under the baobab tree, clutching the small box the old woman had given her. Her tears fell silently onto the dry earth as she whispered to the spirits of her parents, asking them for strength. Suddenly, the box in her hand grew warm, and she remembered the old woman's words. With trembling hands, Ralia opened the box. Inside was a single golden seed, glowing faintly in the dim light of the setting sun. She didn't know why, but she felt a strange sense of peace as she held the seed. Carefully, she buried it at the base of the baobab tree and whispered a prayer of hope. That night, as Ralia slept, a miracle happened. The seed sprouted and grew at an astonishing rate. By morning, it had transformed into a magnificent tree laden with golden fruit, unlike anything anyone in the village had ever seen. The tree shimmered in the sunlight, its branches heavy with the precious fruit. News of the golden tree spread like wildfire. People from neighboring villages came to see it, bringing with them gifts and offerings. Amina, upon hearing the commotion, rushed to the tree and was overcome with greed. She demanded that Ralia harvest the fruit and give it to her. But when Ralia touched the tree, a soft voice spoke to her, "This tree is a gift to you, Ralia. It belongs to no one else." Ignoring Amina's demands, Ralia gathered the golden fruit and took it to the village market. The fruit was so rare and valuable that it fetched a fortune. With the wealth she earned, Ralia was able to buy herself a new home, fine clothes, and enough food to last her a lifetime. She was no longer the poor orphan girl who was mistreated and unloved. Ralia's kindness and generosity did not end there. She used her wealth to help the other orphans in the village, ensuring that they never faced the hardships she had endured. She built a school, where children could learn and grow, and a clinic, where the sick could be healed. As Ralia's fortunes rose, Amina's life began to unravel. Her greed had driven away those who might have cared for her, and the villagers, who once feared her, now looked at her with disdain. Musa and Zara, seeing the love and respect that Ralia had earned, began to distance themselves from their mother, choosing instead to follow Ralia's example of kindness and generosity. One day, Amina fell gravely ill. Her body, once strong and commanding, grew weak and frail. She lay in her bed, surrounded by silence, her only companions the shadows on the walls. In her sickness, Amina was forced to reflect on her life, on the choices she had made, and the cruelty she had inflicted on Ralia. Regret weighed heavily on her heart, but she was too proud to admit it. When news of Amina's illness reached Ralia, she felt a deep sense of sadness. Despite all the pain Amina had caused her, Ralia could not find it in her heart to hold a grudge. She remembered the old woman's words, about the earth watching over those who endure with kindness. Ralia knew that kindness was not just a gift to others, but also a healing balm for one's own soul. Ralia went to Amina's house, carrying with her some of the golden fruit. She found Amina lying in bed, her face pale and her eyes dull. Amina was shocked to see Ralia, expecting anger or revenge, but instead, she saw only compassion in Ralia's eyes. Without a word, Ralia sat by Amina's side and offered her the golden fruit. "Eat this," Ralia said softly, "and regain your strength." Amina hesitated, her pride battling with her desperation. But in the end, she took the fruit and ate it. As she did, she felt a warmth spread through her body, a warmth that eased her pain and filled her with a sense of peace. Tears welled up in Amina's eyes as she looked at Ralia, the girl she had treated so harshly, and yet who had shown her nothing but kindness in return. "I am sorry," Amina whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "I am sorry for all the pain I caused you." Ralia took Amina's hand in hers and smiled gently. "I forgive you," she said. "Let the past remain in the past. What matters is the future, and how we choose to live it." Amina wept, her heart finally unburdened of the guilt and bitterness she had carried for so long. From that day on, Amina's relationship with Ralia changed. Though it took time, they began to rebuild their bond, not as stepmother and stepdaughter, but as two women who had both endured hardship and found a way to heal. As the years passed, Ralia's tree of golden fruit continued to grow, its branches spreading far and wide. The tree became a symbol of hope and resilience for the entire village. People came from all over to see it, to taste its fruit, and to hear the story of the orphan girl who had overcome great adversity to become the most respected and beloved woman in the land. Ralia never forgot her humble beginnings. She continued to live a life of kindness and generosity, always looking out for those in need. Her school flourished, producing scholars who went on to achieve great things. The clinic she had built saved countless lives, and the orphans she had taken in grew up to be strong and compassionate, following in her footsteps. In her old age, Ralia would often sit under the baobab tree, now with its golden companion beside it. She would watch the children playing in the fields, hear the laughter and songs of the villagers, and feel a deep sense of contentment. She knew that her parents' spirits had always been with her, guiding her, and that the old woman who had given her the golden seed was no ordinary woman, but a messenger of the earth itself. Ralia lived a long and fulfilling life, surrounded by the love and respect of her community. When she passed away, the village mourned deeply, but they also celebrated the legacy she had left behind, a legacy of kindness, resilience, and the belief that even in the darkest of times, there is light waiting to shine. The golden tree continued to stand tall, its branches heavy with fruit, a living reminder of Ralia's story, a story that would be told for generations to come.